Being a doppelganger, that's actually a thing. So for me, I wanted to go ahead and forgive the doppelgangers. I forgive you, doppelgangers. Which doppelgangers am I referring to? Well, that's hard to say because there's quite a few. Male, female, it's all the same to me. I still don't understand the desire to be anyone other than yourself. A doppelganger is quite obvious if you look close enough. They attach themselves to any and everyone that you've had a connection with. They covertly walk in your shadow undetected for so long. They themselves have convinced themselves that they are remotely close to being who you are. There's only one me. Just like everyone else out here, there's only one me. But how is it possible for someone to hate you and want to be you at the same time? Is that even possible? Is it possible to have an undercover admirer who's unaware that they admire you? Who's unaware that without you, strangely enough, they don't exist? Who's unaware that they have in fact groomed themselves to walk like you, talk like you? And I have to leave it there because there are some things a doppelganger cannot copy. But perhaps the doppelgangers are unaware of that. You may study someone, take notes, do your homework, but my essence cannot be duplicated. You can befriend any friend I've ever had. You can get close to anyone I've ever dated. You can try to copy my unique style and even rehearse my lingo. Oh, but my essence cannot be duplicated. Trying to bind me from being my authentic self is impossible. Be it a sibling, a friend, a parent, a lover, or even a stranger. Oh yeah, if it's a stranger, by the way, that's just weird. Sometimes I think to myself, why would anyone want to be little old me and not themselves? But then I remember perhaps it's because I walk proudly as my authentic self. I care not to seek approval outside of myself. Rather I'm rich or poor, up or down. The me that I am is always good enough for me. You see, I used to seek validation outside of myself, so I would never sit on a high horse and look down on others as if I couldn't relate to that at one time. I used to think popularity, praise, and envy is what made me whole until real life kicked in, and I had to learn those things are just as silly as not knowing my own worth. For the doppelgangers who try to duplicate for this thing called clout, please understand, you may as well take the T off the end and replace it with a D, because clout is nothing more than the cloud that your head is in, believing that you can be someone else. Or what do they call that nowadays? Destiny swap? Yeah, that's actually not a thing. Destiny thief? Now that's a bit more accurate. But why not just create your own destiny? We all have the ability and blank canvas to do so. I know, you don't want to do the work. You'd much rather patiently wait for someone else to put in the blood, the sweat, and the tears, and then step into their greatness that they created. So I have a question. There's nothing about that feels wrong to you? Like nothing? To literally observe someone working their tail off for their creations, just to swoop down like a hawk and grab it and claim it as your own? That doesn't feel wrong to you? You're comfortable with that? That's your legacy? A thief of creations? A hijacker of identity? You sleep good at night knowing that the only work that you've done was hijacking someone else's inspiration? Someone else's identity? Well, good luck with that, good old doppelganger. because you'll never be able to keep up with someone's true self, their true essence. Because you see, they can reinvent themselves time and time again, yet still be their true self. Now you, on the other hand, will do nothing other than leave a trail of evidence of your obsession. Because believe it or not, it is most certainly quite obvious, even to the untrained eye. Now I know your ego may have convinced you that the world is full of mindless, robotic individuals who aren't smart enough to see through your antics. But think again, because people are smarter than you think. People nowadays catch on quicker than you give them credit for. Not everyone wants to fall in line to do your bidding. Not everyone wants to be a yes man or woman, to feed your ego as you duplicate someone else's foundation to claim as your own. Not everyone has the time or the energy to waste grouping up to fight your battles. The battles that you're actually fighting with yourself. Because why on earth would an original ever need to prove that which they are? My opinion, well, that's simple. Doppelgangers, you should apologize to those that you rally up. Why? Because it's painfully obvious you see these individuals as empty-headed prey. You see them as people who are willing to bow down to you, even if you have to grease some palms to make it happen. You doppelgangers know that there are those out there that you know you couldn't even approach them with those deceptive offers and fabrications, because they would see right through you. They would see right through your massive ego and would most certainly never position themselves to be your personal puppet. Because let's be clear, that is how you see people now, isn't it? Can't think for themselves, so you have an opinion for them, easy to control. All you need to do is manipulate their weakness, which in most cases is financial struggle. Yeah, you doppelgangers need to apologize to those individuals for what you really think of them. How beneath you really feel that they are. Because your mind control and manipulation speaks more about you than it does about them. But I'm sure you don't see that. You're too busy jacking identities, creations, and so-called destinies, I guess. But one day, just like the truth, your true identity will come to light. The veil will be lifted. The very spotlight you so desperately want to stand in, you absolutely will stand in, but as your true self. And on that day, I hope you finally learn that that's who you should have been all along, yourself.